75% of the serotonin that makes you feel good like that is made in your gut. Would you believe it? Most of
that gut feeling, right?
Yeah, that gut feeling.
Yeah,
some people would even say your mind is in your gut.
Hello, welcome. I'm Kelly with Inspired Nutrition, and this is Dr. Rudy Cashman.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you today. And today we're going to be learning from Dr. Cashman about the gut microbiome. What is it? Why do we need to know about it? How do we know when it's out of balance? And what can we do about it?
Oh, what a wonderful question. You know, I firmly believe, and I know the science behind it, that really your gut determines your health. And what is your gut? For one thing, you know, it begins in the mouth. When you take in, say, some carbohydrates, okay, which could be a donut, mucus gets secreted, a lot of water, really, 1.5 gallons a day, which partially digests your carbohydrates. The proteins and the fats are digested in the stomach and the rest of the intestines. And then the food goes past the tonsils, and they put out some lymphatic tissue in case it's a bacteria that they don't like that could kill you or infect you. They'll kill a lot of the bacteria. But then it goes down the esophagus, a long tube, and then hits the stomach. And in the stomach, a lot of acids are secreted that kill off a lot of bacteria, which could be on the food, which could be dangerous to your life. But it starts digestion of the proteins, the amino acids that form eventually muscle, for example, part of cell membranes, for example, hormones, for example, and fats partly digest them, and the acids kill off a lot of the bad bacteria that might get you. And then the food goes to the duodenum, and there enzymes and hormones are brought in from the pancreas, which makes insulin and glucagon, which you need to push sugar into the cells. For example, the liver through the gallbladder puts in some enzymes that can digest fats, and then they hit the jejunum and the ileum, and they have in them a lot of bacteria, but most of the bacteria, yes, in your gut are living trillions of living beings called bacteria. We don't really realize that, in 90% of the gut yeast and viruses that live there too, but 90% is living bacteria that have their own metabolic system, and they will attack the food and break it apart, so that then your gut has epithelium. Epithelium, that's only 1 cell layer thick, which protects the blood system. Behind that is an immune system. And if you're eating the type of food, for example, which could be ones that have a lot of gluten in them, which we don't tolerate as a protein, which secretes a enzyme called zinulin, which breaks apart that epithelium, which is 1 cell layer thick, that's all, and allows foreign proteins like glutens and lectins, which is another type of protein made from tomatoes, eggplants, for example, have them in them, which can attack your body.
So is that leaky gut?
Yeah, that would be called a leaky gut. We make holes in our gut, and this can lead to a tremendous amount of diseases. I mean, this can result in mental problems, physical problems.
What does your body do then when it detects that foreign?
Yeah, well, your body reacts to it, forms immune cells, for example, which can attack your whole vasculature in your body and cause illnesses, epilepsy, mental disease, depression. About 75% of the serotonin that makes you feel good like that is made in your gut. Would you believe it? Most of
that gut feeling, right?
Yeah, gut feeling.
Yeah,
some people would even say your mind is in your gut.
It is. I like to use the example, like if I were to say to you, you know what, there's this roller coaster ride in the backyard, and I put it together this morning. It's a little cranky, but I think it'll be fun. You want to go with me? And ask yourself, where do I feel that? Do I feel it in my head, or did my gut just say, I don't think so?
Yeah, you got it. And then the food, which has been broken down into molecules, very small size, and you have a normal epithelium, it can enter, has to go past immune cells, for example, which can react to it. Incidentally, you can change your biome, your holobiome, all those bacteria, you can change them quickly.
Because they're alive, like they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The lifespan, you wouldn't believe this, that the lifespan of bacteria is less than 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But is it the colony? Do they just produce more of the same?
Yes, they can reproduce very quickly. And if you're eating the right food, different bacteria start living in your gut. Actually, 10,000 different types of bacteria that could live there.
And so you have to ask yourself, which ones are you feeding, right?
Yes, but there's only about 5 or 6 that occupy most of the space. So it depends on what are you feeding them?
Yeah.
What are you leaving out? What are you putting in, for example?
Is that what a prebiotic is?
And that's what we call prebiotics, where you can eat fermented foods like sauerkraut and sambachi and eat foods like that, and they will feed the bacteria that are already in your gut. So if you have a lot of good bacteria in there, you can feed them with the right food.
That's right.
Now if you have nothing but bad bacteria living in your gut, you can take something called probiotics, which have living fermented bacteria in them to try to grow a new gut.
Yeah.
So your total health is really determined in your gut. Then eventually the food makes its way down into the colon. That's the last part of your gut. That's where most of your bacteria live.
Okay.
They live and they can make butyric acid, which helps prevent colon cancer, makes you feel good. So indeed, you are what your gut is.
Absolutely. And your immune system too.
And then in the end, you want to come out with the bacteria that died that day. Remember, the lifespan is very short, very short. The lifespan of your epithelial cells, which is one cellular thick, is 20 minutes.
Really? 20 minutes, and then that whole layer just rebuilds.
Yes, that rebuilds.
That's interesting.
It is interesting because people that have diseases, say like diabetes, which has attached to it about 20 or 30 illnesses, thyroid disease, dementia, stroke disease, the bacteria that kill your teeth, liver disease, most of kidney disease is totally associated to what you're eating. People don't realize that, I need dialysis, or I need a kidney transplant. Well, if you were getting blood tested regularly, you would know that you may be on the path to kidney disease, about 5 stages. Most of the time, people, us providers included, don't tell the patient, you're at stage 3 kidney disease. If you change what you put in, what you're eating, you can stop that and even turn it in the other direction. I have a patient right now that I treat who had kidney disease is about 5 stages, and she's stage 5. Yeah, I mean most providers would say you need dialysis, you need a kidney transplant, but she didn't want it done. So I've been teaching her how to change her biome.
Yeah.
I get rid of her diabetes in about a month.
That's amazing.
Yes, because what I do, I gave her a list of foods she could eat, and she changed her biome.
Yeah.
She is a different biome now, and her diabetes went
So
away.
it sounds like you're really as healthy as your biome is.
Exactly.
It's almost like it's not what you eat, it's what your biome eats, right?
It is exactly right. What are they eating?
What are you feeding this? Because it's really supporting your health, your immune system.
So, right.
Yes.
And if you're eating beef, for example, or even salmon, say fish, which generally we say is a good thing to eat, but in actuality, it's what the fish ate. It's what you're eating.
That's exactly right.
You are eating what the fish ate.
Yeah,
or
do you
what
remember my little
the
saying?
beef eat.
If
Yes.
it's not in the ground, then it's not in the plant, then it's not in the animal, then it's not in you. So it really starts even with the soil.
Yeah.
It's saying, has that soil been
Yeah.
degraded?
A lot of like lectins, which are in tomatoes and eggplants, and for example, those enzymes, they're called lectins, the protein. So plants on this earth, which were here a long time before we were, they were being consumed by bacteria and viruses and animals, and they're constantly being attacked. So they developed a protective system, and that can be glutens and lectins and poisons. I mean, you eat a certain plant, some people eat a peanut and they have an allergic reaction and they die. So plants surround themselves with things which could keep the enemies away. Or other things they surround themselves with, they want you to eat them because you don't digest them. And when you put them out in the end, you spread them all over and plants grow everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? So
So are you saying the wrong plants can actually hurt your microbiome?
yes, if you eat the wrong plants, you could be allergic to them, but also your immune system could react to them like they do in glutens and lectins.
So how do you know what to eat if we can't eat plants and we're afraid of the lectins? What should we eat?
Well, I think you have a good question of what should I eat. I think it depends a little bit on your situation. If you have a lot of problems with gut problems, you're vomiting, diarrhea all the time, you're losing weight, you're gaining weight, and you don't know why, you need to look at the foods that you are consuming. And we, us, Kelly and you, teach people how to cook. And is that we have to sometimes try different foods and see what it does to our gut. For example, myself at age 39, for the 46th time, I wasn't always healthy. My dad owned a delicatessen in New York City. We sold a lot of bad food, all these cold cuts, and I drank a lot of milk every day. We didn't know better. We came from North Germany, and we didn't know better. But now that I read books about milk, what it does to your gut, I don't drink milk anymore because it was. I think I did not have the hormone lactose, which the sugar lactose and lactase, which digests the sugar, which nature arranged in us to have only for a few years because we were consuming as children years ago mother's milk. That's good for 2 or 3 years actually, but today mothers are breastfeeding, which is different milk than the milk that you drink, for only 6 months on the average. A lot of women are getting C-sections, and that's kind of interesting because as a baby normally is born through the vagina, listen to this, the baby's face is painted with lactobacillus bacteria, covers its face, and then it goes into the bowel, and that is what digests the mother's milk.
So gut health, good gut health for a mother
is the best.
Yes.
50% or so
Yeah, they're really
of
passing
the ladies
on.
are getting C-sections, so their babies are born and they have not been exposed to the lactobacillus, so they are more prone to diseases.
Now, do they get some of that through breast milk after the baby is born?
They've changed that a little bit, added
the
to that a little bit, but still it's not as good. These children have a lot more allergic reactions. They have a lot more gut diseases. Type 1 diabetes, where you don't make insulin, is related in part to having a C-section. So before you consider getting the baby out that way, I would ask the doctor or Google it or look at some books and read about this a little bit. Shouldn't be a decision like that, because when you have that C-section, you are going to affect that baby. And the baby's gut biome, these are your friends, if they're the right ones, are not fully developed in a child till age 3. Isn't that interesting? So your biome is extremely important. You need to pay attention. So if you have a lot of symptoms of diarrhea all the time.
What are some of the symptoms?
Yeah, would be diarrhea, constipation, belching all the time, gas all the time, periods of vomiting, that your weight is changing, that you get some illnesses you can't account for, like type 1 diabetes or seizures, or mental problems, or some disability in the child. A lot of the disability in children is related to what they are consuming, what you are giving to them, what they're eating. What is the family eating? Sugary fruits all the time? Well, you're all going to have the same kind of gut. And the interesting thing is too, is that the bacteria that are living in your gut are shared a lot of times with family members or with friends, the people that you live with, your inner circle, spread very quickly to the person next to you. That can occur even on an airplane, just by the conversation and sharing the breath in the air, just like the viruses spreading to infect people. Your gut bacteria spread to the person next to you very quickly. And if you go to a foreign country, which I've done in the past, went south a great deal, and I came back, I'd always have gut problems and colds and viruses a lot more than when I left. Why was that? I came back with different friends living in there. Remember what I said? It's trillions. It can take a few months, a few days, sometimes even a year or two before you had the same gut again you had when you left. So these friends, remember about 6 of them, Lactobacillus bacteroides, there's about 5 or 6 which generally dominate this population.
But the quantity is...
Yeah, but occasionally there'll be a child, adult, that received a lot of antibiotics, okay? And these are, aimed for a certain bacteria that may be killing you, so you need the antibiotic. But if they're broad spectrum, not specific, just for one, like penicillin for streptococcus, that's pretty specific. But there are a lot of antibiotics now which kill a lot of different types of bacteria, And the killing bacteria didn't need to be killed. What happens is that you can develop a different type of bacteria in your gut, which you didn't have in mind, have trouble all the time. Kids who, by age 12 or so, have usually been 10 different antibiotics, and you know what? They got a different biome. They got different guys living in there, and they're more likely to catch illnesses and diseases that they wouldn't have got, which can include infections or cancer, or thyroid disease, kidney disease, dementia, depression. Other times our feelings are related to what's living in our gut, and whether we're depressed or not, because I remember 75% of the serotonin, the quick feel-good hormone, is made by the guys in there. Now you teach people how to cook meals, for example. Now you have websites available for them. Could you talk about them a little bit? How they could connect with us to gain more information? I'm just starting the information process for you, but you can look at it. You can learn how to cook, what type of foods to cook. There will be tremendous information on our websites.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about
Sure. So diabetessupportfw.com is Dr. Rudy Keshman's website. And on there, you can get access to all of his videos on YouTube, which is a huge library. How many videos do you have on YouTube?
Over 500 on previous TV shows I've done in public access. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. So much education. So you could go in there and you could search for Dr. Keshman and put in a topic. You know, things like diabetes. He's had a tremendous impact on our population with diabetes, and so you could go in and search for those on YouTube and watch a video. You can also access his Amazon site that has all of the books that he's written. All of these links you can locate on that main website, which again is diabetessupportfw.com. You can also visit mine for some more recipes. That's Inspired Nutrition by Kelly. And if you actually visit Dr. Keshman's website, we have some gifts lined up for you that will accompany our talks. So on there, you're going to be able to find a nice guide regarding your gut health and some quick and healthy tips, and also some recipes, probably some do's and don'ts as far as food goes. What foods support your gut health? What foods start to damage your gut health? So again, as Dr. Keshman stated, this is really just kind of an overview, but if you'd like to go further, continue the process of learning, you can visit the website and join the mailing list and start to make those significant changes in your life and in your gut microbiome.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. The amount of information that's available is almost unending. They got 5 one-hour TV shows in there. You can watch them for 10 minutes, turn them off, come back tomorrow. The YouTube is always there. I've written probably 20 books and other aspects too about stress and pain, because there's a lot of other things, and how to grow older and look young. I like that one.
Yeah.
And what we like for you to do is to be 100 years old and look like a teenager. It can be done. And
die young at an old age, right?
Die young
at a very old age.
Very old age. I think this is Steve Gundry, cardiologist, written some books on that. And I like his books if you're looking for something to read, because I've written 20 also, but he speaks a lot about the gut, and he really has detailed scientific knowledge, because he did transplants on little babies. He did it on adults, and then he himself, when he was 50 years old, is writing in his book, he was way overweight and unhealthy. And then he realized, he said, I was looking like the patients I was operating on. And then he started really studying the science of nutrition. He was working at Loma Linda University 15 years. And you have to really respect this. He was honest to his patients. He was making a lot more money doing what he's doing. He decided to form his own institute of wellness, where he didn't do any surgery. He realized all the things he was working on could be totally prevented by paying attention to your biome. That's beautifully discussed in his books and many other books, in my books too. But I was trying to tell you is my knowledge is based on other people's experience and knowledge, and my own health. Like I said, I ate bad food, and I wasn't weight like Dr. Gundry, maybe 15, 20 pounds at most. Now I'm 135 pounds and 39 years old for the 46th time. And playing pickleball, take tap dancing, and feel great. You know how many pills I'm on every day? Zero. Absolutely zero.
Yeah.
And feel real good and energetic. And I played pickleball this morning, and I'll be tap dancing on Mondays and at home on my Marley floor, or trying to memorize a song. So, but it's nice to see in myself and in other people that eating properly and having a healthy biome is the most important thing. And what I really like, Kelly, it can be done quickly. You don't have to wait a year or two for that change. But you
quickly affect all of that.
and affect all that, because the biome, the epithelium lives 20 minutes, the bacteria live 24 hours. You can change those guys very quickly. You can be healthy in 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean, you remove all the things that are irritating to the gut, right?
Yes.
And then you start the healing process, and then you re-inoculate all of the good, healthy gut bacteria, right?
Exactly.
What you good microbes. So we got to take away what's hurting us. We need to heal, and then we need to add. We need to replace the gut.
Beautifully said.
Microbes.
You have to leave out, and then put back in to get the good bacteria, which will lead to great health. So you can be happy, and if you get a religious bent, I think this is what whoever's running the universe wants you to respect the body that the universe created in the first place. You're showing it respect. It's consistent with most religions, most faiths, and plain old good health, where you can die young at 100 years old with no diseases, no pills. I'm visualizing that I'm heading that way. Who knows? Who knows? But the majority of people who develop diseases like diabetes, which causes about 30 diseases the last 20 years of their life, they die in their 50s, 60s, and their 70s. And the last 10, 20 years of their life, they're sick. They get dementia. They're in nursing homes.
And we weren't built that way.
They're in wheelchairs, and they were not built that way. If someone, a lot of them lack the knowledge. That's what we're about, is knowledge. But then again, you must, participate.
Yes,
you got to step up to bat and not put in what makes you sick, but then eat what makes you healthy.
Yes, because our bodies are just miraculous when we give them what they want. Look at everything that they fight off, and sometimes I'll have people say, well, I'm eating this junk and I'm doing okay. Well, you're only going to do so well for so long, because your body is in the background making up for it, getting rid of all the toxicity, trying to give your body enough so that you can keep functioning every day. But when you start to eat well, then you can build up that reserve and that longevity and that energy that Dr. Ketchman has.
And you look good. I mean, your skin is good. You don't get rashes. You don't get colds. These are all avoided because you have a strong immune system. You have a strong gut that is lined up to protect you. You get friendly bacteria that are eating only the good food you're providing them, not making holes in the gut because you don't have holes in your gut. In summary, Kelly, I'll summarize that this a little bit. What I'm asking people to do here is to pay attention to the food they're eating.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
you gotta look at it and decide, well, I'm gonna eat this or I'm gonna leave this out. So especially in the beginning, get in the habit of paying attention. What's in your refrigerator? What are you storing? What are you buying?
Reading labels, looking out for those unhealthy fats and overly processed foods, and definitely visit the website and download a list of foods that are going to support your gut health and give you that
maybe even put that list on the refrigerator.
Absolutely.
Until you get in the habit, you get it all memorized. That way, and I tell you another good thing is, that way you can teach your kids, you know what I mean? Because there's so much type 2 diabetes and diseases now in children. Yes, one of the highest obesity rates is in age 3 to 6. And to get proper testing done, I think that's important. We'll speak more about that later on our next post. But decide what foods to leave out, what to shop for.
Yes.
Get the kids involved. Take them with you to the market, or if that's how you do it, or to take them to the garden. Maybe plant your own garden, for example, so you know what your biome is all about.
Yeah, in that good soil.
And try to eliminate the things that might be upsetting your gut, and then learn how to cook properly. Learn about the heat involved in cooking and what's sautéing all about. You can speak more about that. How do you cook most of the time, Kelly? You don't heat food very much.
Well, that's a great question. You know, if you can steam your vegetables, that has a lot of benefits because you're not losing a lot of the nutrients. Also, fiber is both soluble and insoluble. And the insoluble fiber, meaning it doesn't break down, actually feeds your gut. Your gut, right? That is a prebiotic. So the more that you can kind of maintain the integrity of all of the phytonutrients and antioxidants in your fresh food is better. So eating it raw, steaming it is a really good idea, and really maintaining the integrity of the nutrients.
And in the next post here, we'll speak more about the type of food, type of fats, type of protein, type of carbohydrate. We'll speak more about that. So
and we've got more episodes coming with really great topics. And something I really like what we've talked about today, the bottom line is that you're only as healthy as your gut microbiome.
As your gut is, as your whole biome is. And remember that you can look at our website.
And those will be in the show notes, so we'll have links to everything if you'd like to check those out as well. We hope this will help, and we hope that you're able to pass on this message. And as always, stay inspired. Thank you.
Namaste.